Tonight we step back to the dawn of a revolution, the early 1970s, when jazz put on electric shoes and started dancing with rock, funk, and soul. The city streets were loud with new sounds, amplified guitars, electric pianos, transistor synths, while studio technology and festival culture reshaped how musicians imagined improvisation. Jazz musicians, restless after the acoustic post-bop era, began borrowing grooves and textures from popular music, heavier backbeats, organ and clavinet tones, guitar distortion, and extended studio processing. The result was a thrilling, sometimes violent, and always boundary-pushing hybrid we now call fusion. In this first episode, we'll walk the timeline from 1970 to 1973. 5 essential tracks that didn't merely reflect the change, they helped create it. Each selection shows a different face of early fusion: the raw electric experiments, the shredding spiritual jazz, the groove-first funk hybrids, and the studio-savvy records that brought the sound to wider audiences. Track 1. Miles Davis. Miles runs the voodoo down off the Seismic Bitches Brew. If you want a single moment to point to as the birth pang of electric jazz, this is it. Miles took the improvising spirit of jazz and imprisoned it in dense, electric textures, wah-drenched trumpet lines riding over rock and funk grooves. Listen for the hypnotic, repeating piano vamp and the way the rhythm section behaves more like a slow-burn engine than a swinging timekeeper. This was not background music. It was a frontal assault on expectations, and it opened the floodgates. Next up, Mahavishnu Orchestra's Meeting of the Spirits. John McLaughlin's sextet threw jazz theory into a blender with rock's velocity and Indian rhythmic sensibilities. The result: aggressive, virtuosic interplay, furious unison lines, odd meters, blazing electric violin and guitar. This was fusion as a spectacle of technique, spiritual ambition, and sheer combustible energy. If jazz had grown muscle, this was the moment it flexed. Now a different color. Weather Report's Boogie Woogie Waltz. This group, led by Joe Zawinul and Wayne Shorter, cared less about blistering individual soloing and more about texture, atmosphere, and collective improvisation. Here you hear melodic fragments passing like weather fronts, lush electric bass lines, and keyboards creating spaces rather than filling them. This track exemplifies the band as organism, idea, fusion as a sonic landscape rather than a battle for solo glory. Fourth, Herbie Hancock's Chameleon from Headhunters. This tune took funk and made it the backbone of jazz improvisation. That unforgettable synth bass line, simple, repetitive, irresistible, became a platform for groove-driven solos and studio polish. Herbie showed that fusion could be danceable, radio-friendly, and still musically daring. Chameleon helped bring a new audience to jazz and paved the way for funk-influenced fusion bands across the globe. Finally, Billy Cobham's Stratus from Spectrum. Cobham, a drummer who had played with Miles and Mahavishnu, brought percussive thunder and studio savvy together. Stratus is built on a locked, powerful groove and guitar tones that push and pull around the drum pattern. It's muscular fusion, precision-driven, propulsive, and a prime example of how studio production amplified the genre's intensity. Miles runs the voodoo down, Miles Davis. 1970. Meeting of the Spirits, Mahavishnu Orchestra. 1971. Boogie Woogie Waltz, Weather Report. 1972. Chameleon, Herbie Hancock. 1973. Stratus, Billy Cobham. 1973. If you're a rock fan, a jazz fan, or simply curious about how genres collided and created something new, this episode is for you.